I'm Kristyn Molinaro, and welcome to People in Perspective. With me today is Brian Paruch, aka the Whipping Boy. For starters, Brian, I would like to know how you would like to be addressed.
Whatever you like. See, I got several names. I got Brian, I got Whip, I got Whipping Boy.
Okay.
I got Brian the Whipping Boy, I got Paruch, I got the Pillsbury Doughboy.
Okay.
I got Pudge, I got Mr. Banana in Pajamas. Whatever you like.
Okay. Let's just go for Brian right
Good.
now, and maybe during the thing we'll switch. Okay. I'm sure everybody's wondering, but how did you get your name, the Whipping Boy?
See, this is the thing. This question, everybody asks. It's the first thing that comes to people's minds when they hear Brian the Whipping Boy. And if there was actually a good story behind it, it would be so much more fun to tell. But I'll tell you the real story.
Okay.
You'll be so bored out of your pants. My boss. I used to be an intern at the radio station a couple of years ago when I was in college, okay?
Yeah.
And being an intern basically means you get to carry everybody's boxes, the heaviest ones first.
Oh,
okay?
that's always fun.
Yeah, because you don't get paid, you mean nothing to anybody. You're basically a human piece of machinery, basically. And you work like 16 million hours a day, and you get no money. So therefore, you are kind of like the whipping person, because a whipping boy is just a term that means the person who gets kind of junked on by everybody. And that's what I was, And so then I kind of parlayed my little internship into an air shot, and the boss said, "Whoa, we need a creative, wacky name. How about Whipping Boy?" And he made himself laugh, and then I got a job and a name. So that's really it.
We know you work at Q101, but
Oh, yeah.
When did you start working there?
Well, okay, the story kind of goes like this. 1993, I was an intern for like a summer when I was in college, between like my sophomore and junior year of college. Went to the University of Illinois, Champaign-Urbana, fine school. Your facilities are better here than their broadcast journalism stuff, let me just tell you that. I went there, I interned in the summer of '93, came back the next summer to do basically the same exact thing except get paid like $5.50 an hour.
Oh.
And then I was like a pseudo whipping boy, And from that, they fired a couple of people because it's radio and that's what happens all the time. And so I'd been on the air in Champaign and I said, "Hey, I'm here and here's a tape," to the boss. And at that point, all that other stuff I just talked about kind of happened. And I got on an overnight shift and it worked its way to whatever from there.
Cool. Now Q101 is the only station that you've worked at, right?
Well, I worked at a station in I worked at a station in Champaign called WKQX first, which it's a student-run station in Champaign. It's not like a traditional college station because traditional college stations are not commercial, and this is a commercial station that's run by college students. It's kind of unique, kind of weird. And as much as I like to make fun of the Champaign-Urbana area because it really is horrible in many ways, that was actually a really good opportunity. And a lot of people who have worked at that station have gone on to, careers in radio and TV and stuff like that. Many people you might have heard of, Wendy Rice from XRT and several other people. So that's the only other station I've worked at. Then I came to Q101.
Cool. Now, I know in the mornings you work with Wendy and Bill. Who else do you work with?
Well, Wendy, by the way, her autograph is in your hallway. I don't know if you knew that.
Yes.
There's some poster from 1991. It says, "Thanks for having me, Wendy Snyder." So I saw that and I was like, "Ooh, I'm at home." Who else do I work with? Well, there's Wendy Snyder. There's Bill Leff, who is, her little sidekick sort of thing, and a funny guy. Ross is the producer of the show and sort of a foil for the whole thing at times. They like to pick on him and make a big joke out of him. He's kind of the whipping boy of the show. Even though my name is Whipping Boy, he's kind of the guy who actually gets the most junk from people, from them. And then there's a guy, Steve Sauer, who does the every little sound bite you hear throughout the show. Like if they're having a guest on and you hear something from that person's, that person's movie or that person's TV show or whatever, then he is getting that in the other room at the time, and he puts together stuff from the show. And he actually went to my high school, which is a really weird coincidence, but probably means nothing to you.
That's bizarre.
Yeah.
I know a few weeks ago you interviewed Chris Cornell from Soundgarden. Who else have you interviewed that was like totally cool?
Well, actually, yesterday at the Twisted concert at the Rosemont Horizon, I interviewed Sheryl Crow, which was pretty. Actually, I'd interviewed her before, but on the phone, and in person, she's a very beautiful woman, and it was very much fun to interview her. I talked to the Bloodhound Gang, who are a couple of moronic guys, but really funny. Just yesterday, the Wallflowers. In my life, I've talked to a lot of people. Gwen Stefani from No Doubt.
Is she cool?
Yeah, she's cool. Stabbing Westward. It's actually funny. I've interviewed them like twice in the last 2 weeks, and they're Christopher Hall, the singer, the nicest guy. He's just such a down-to-earth guy. Just a lot of bands. It's hard to remember all of them.
Cool.
But if you name some off, I can tell you yes or no. Eddie Vedder, no.
No.
But
would you want to?
I would love to interview Eddie Vedder, but he hates Q101 passionately, so he'll never speak to us.
Yeah.
If I say I'm from some college radio station in San Diego or something,
sure.
Maybe he might possibly say A to me, but otherwise I doubt it.
Yeah, yeah. Now we know that you're 23. Like, do you want to do like radio for the rest of your life, or what do you plan to do?
I don't know. It's hard to say, because up to now I haven't necessarily planned it all out. I just kind of went in a sort of a direction and said, okay, well, I hope something good happens now. And everything that's happened so far has been really good, and so I haven't really planned it out necessarily to the next step. I'm really happy working at Q101. There's a drill going on. That's fine. No, I just if that door falls down, I just wanted you to be aware that it's possible it's going to fall on him. By the way.
Okay.
I hadn't really planned it out up to this point. I love where I am right now. If radio was a secure business, which it's not, I would say, boy, I'd love to work at Q101 for the rest of eternity.
Yeah.
But people go from radio into other arenas, and maybe I would go into TV one day. Who knows?
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just don't know. But so far it's been good. So until something crappy happens to me, I'm just going to kind of keep going.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Now, I know like sometimes on the weekends you'll go to like different clubs and promote Q101. What do you just do like on an average weekend when there's nothing to do?
Myself, it's really, really scandalously boring. But honestly, the only thing I look forward to on a Saturday night is getting to sleep for a whole night, because I get up every day at 2:30 to do the morning show.
Yuck.
And it's like, to sleep till 7 is just some sort of ungodly pleasure, So I might visit friends. I don't really go to clubs or anything. This is really sort of a bad admittance, because as a lifestyle person of Q101, I should be going to the clubs and stuff. But
hanging out.
I don't really, I go there enough for work that I don't feel like I need to go there and rock out or anything on my own. So it's like, I just kind of hang out and do what everybody else does, and hang around with my friends, hang around with my girlfriend, or hang around at home and watch movies. I actually look forward to that now that I have such a weird schedule with mornings.
Cool. So what do you do like when you get home like from work? Like, do you just sit on the couch with like Pepsi, or like what do you usually
Coke.
do? Coke?
Yeah. The first thing I do usually is sleep, because the way my sleep schedule is, it's really weird. It's like I get about 3 hours in the afternoon, maybe 3 hours at night, and that's my day of sleep. So the first thing I look forward to doing, and I don't get out of work as soon as the show is over. I do music news, I do some other stuff with some other things that we're doing, and so I usually don't get home until like 12:30, despite the fact the show ends at 10. And so I usually look forward to just taking a nap, and usually that is on the couch, yes.
Cool. Now, you work in Chicago, but did you grow up in Chicago, or do you? Yeah,
I grew up. I lived on the northwest side of the city itself till I was like 12. Then I lived in the suburbs where my parents still live until I went to college, came back, and moved to the city by myself now that I'm employed. So that's where I live now.
Now, do you really have like a role model, or is it just kind of like up in the air?
A role model, I mean, there are people I really admire in not necessarily the business of radio, but just the business of media itself. David Letterman I've loved my whole life. I think that guy's a genius, I really do.
Yeah, he's cool.
Bob Costas I like, because I've really always been a sports fan. When I was in college, the thing I was sort of more geared toward was sports. I did music stuff, and I did some news and things like that, but I really wanted to do sports. I did some sportscasting, and so far the career just hasn't gone that way, and this is great too.
Yeah.
But, a guy who I've always admired was Bob Costas, and he is a guy who's so versatile and so smart sounding on the air. He does sports, he does news things, he does things for the Today Show, So I think those are the two role models that pop into my head. Not that I'm trying to imitate them, but if I could choose anybody, whose career I would like mine to be like, or choose anybody whose skills I would love to have, it would be those two guys.
That's
one
cool.
Of those two guys.
That's cool. Well, I'd like to thank you for coming. And it's been a pleasure. And
Thank you for having me.
It was so fun.
Was I funny enough?
Yeah, it was great.
I feel a lot of pressure to be a lot funnier than I am. I'm sorry, I'm working on like 2 hours of sleep again. That's my excuse for life. But the good thing about getting up at 2:30 is that no matter what kind of a bad mood you're in, you got a ready-made excuse every day. That's a good thing. So.
And I'd like to thank you for watching People in Perspective.